Okay, we are here with Jersey Jack himself at Pintastic 2016. In fact, we just saw a fan of yours walk in the stop to be delighted to meet you. Is it interesting to be a pinball celebrity to some degree?
It's really weird. I get it. I didn't ask for it, but it's kind of cool. You know, my wife still makes me take the garbage out, so I'm really not much of a big celebrity.
I remember a person of mine talked about being a famous blogger that, you know, it's like being a champion bowler in one particular niche. Everyone knows you, and
it's funny you mention that, because a really good friend of mine, Parker Bowen III, is a champion pro bowler, and I've been with him at bowling events over the years, and he gets mobbed, and then we're somewhere else, and of course nobody knows who he is, which is kind of cool. So
Jack, Pintastic, second year in New England. How does it look so far as we're into the final day?
It's great. I think Gabe and all of his volunteers are doing a great job. You know, typically these shows take a few years to catch on, and I think he had success last year immediately, and I think this year it's building on it. He's learned, you know, he's a crazy kind of guy, but you need to be a crazy kind of guy to be involved with anything in this in this pinball world. But I think he's doing a great job.
Now, obviously, the big machines last year were your Wizard of Oz and Hobbit, and there's still lines around them. In fact, I came down early to try and beat the lines myself. What do we have? What does Jersey Jack Pinball have in store for us in the future?
Another game, and then another game, and then another game.
What's the next one coming up?
Next one coming out is designed by Pat Lawler, and you know, September 16th will be 3 years that he's working for the company. So. You know, I expect that it's going to be really great. I wouldn't say otherwise, but it's a really fun game, and
so no hints. Laugh.
Not really. You know, we're building a lot of Wizard of Oz games right now. We started the line again to build Wizard of Oz. We're building a lot of Hobbits. We're about 1,000 games in back orders for Hobbit games.
1,000 game back order?
We built about 650 so far, and. You know, we built about 650 so far. And hey, how are you?
Right. Oh, man.
There's Rick Lubitz, another Jersey guy.
Well, feel free to jump on in this interview. Not only is a friend and
a customer, he's also my dentist.
Which is why you were going to brush your teeth when I stopped you for the interview,
right.
because you wanted to keep him happy.
I was going the opposite way, and he says to me, "Do you have time to do this?" And I said, "Sure." He says, "I don't want to interrupt you from what you're doing." I was going to brush my teeth.
So I presume you approve.
It's a reflex now.
I was going to brush my teeth. So see that? The effect that Rick has had on me.
So say a good and obviously you're here for the pinball as well.
Well, yes.
And what is your machine that you just
I got about
die to play
machines. I'm part of the Silverball Pinball Museum in Asbury, the historian there, and I've been a collector since the 60s. So.
That's a lot of pinball.
He's got a lot of games, and in his office he has pinball machines.
Well, that's one way to make the young ones a lot happier while they're waiting.
The good thing is he hasn't suckered me into fixing any of his games yet. So for the most part,
Dan's coming over next week.
Well, it's cheaper than anesthetic. I also understand you're going to be talking tonight. You were saying
I am
near the end of the event.
If there's anybody still here that wants to listen to the ravings of my lunatic mind, you know, I'll be here at 7. Gabe held me to be last, he said, for I don't know what reason, but he's just trying to punish me.
And what's the topic you'll be discussing?
Pinball.
Now, anything particular about pinball, or just pinball in general?
We'll take some questions from the Peanut Gallery, and I'll be happy to talk a little bit about our philosophy of what we want to put in pinball machines and what we're doing next. And, you know, it's the pinball world according to me.
Now,
whether that's right or not, we don't know.
Before your dentist arrived to join us in this interview...
Well, he's my friend too, and my customer, and my dentist.
You mentioned that you have a 1,000-piece back order on the Hobbit game, and that's just... I mean, I don't know the sales of pinball as well as like my son does, but that would seem to me unprecedented.
Well, I think it will be until we start selling the third game. So there might be multiple thousands on that game. Because the cool thing about game number 3 is that we didn't announce what it is, we didn't disclose it, and we didn't take any pre-orders, and we didn't take anybody's money. So that'll be the first game that Jersey Jack builds that's actually on time, because I didn't tell anybody when it's coming out.
Now, is it being released at a particular event, or?
I don't know. You know, I want to release it when it's done. So right now, again, you know, since we have this backorder situation on Hobbit, let's sell Hobbits, let's sell Wizard of Oz games that people are looking for, and then I would think early next year we'll be in building game number 3. You know, I'd like to show it perhaps by the end of this year.
All right, and where can people find out more about you and your business? So if they want to get on that long Hobbit pinball machine backorder, and I've played that game, and folks, I like Wizard of Oz better, frankly, but Hobbit's a great game, and it's a great game to play with 4 players.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
a great
game.
community game.
Yeah, it's a really pretty game also. Well, JerseyJackPinball.com.
And you mentioned the museum where you're the historian.
Yeah.
What's the museum again, and
The
where?
Silverball in Asbury Park, the Silverball.
Asbury Park.
Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Oh, in New Jersey.
Where Bruce Springsteen comes from.
Right across the street, kind of.
Bruce Springsteen comes from every town. Every town claims Bruce Springsteen.
And
he's
we-
from Freehold. He's from here. No, I don't know where.
And what's the website if people want to check it out?
www.silverballmuseum.com. We just opened a second one in Delray, Florida, too.
See, so
Pinball is getting bigger and bigger.
and despite the video games, it's still
Well,
going
pinball,
on.
You know, we've talked about it so many times. Pinball is such a mechanical, physical kind of game that as good as you get, as good as he is, I might beat him on a certain game if I get a little lucky and a little skillful and I practice a little bit more. So it's a very cool game that's being discovered by a lot of young people.
All right, well, thank you both very much for your time.
To be continued.